Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to be going over my original design, Dr. Octopus. This is one of my favorite designs, so it's really fun to revisit it and make a couple tweaks here and there. So we'll take a deep dive on how he came together originally and some of the upgrades I made along the way. So let's get to it. Okay, so as we start to look over it, you'll probably notice that this is probably one of my least kit-bashed figures in my whole Sinister Six. I just took this Injustice 2 Brainiac from Mcfarlane, and it already had 4 tentacles, and when I saw that, I was like, bingo, this is going to be my Doc Ock. So I just repainted the whole figure, and it came out great. I took the joints apart, so the ankles, the wrists, and the knees. I dyed all of that black originally, and then I painted everything green, and then the yellow. As you see on the green, I did a light dry brush on top of it to get this layered look. This is something I learned from Can I Make It, and later on in the video, I will go over how I do it personally and how I've come to understand it. This is definitely one of the most common techniques I use personally, especially on armors and skirts, hard cloth goods, stuff like that. As I'm looking over this figure to see what we can touch up, there honestly isn't much. A lot of it held up well. We don't have paint rub thanks to grit dyeing all the joints, and the paint job held up really well. So I'm thinking I'm going to use this as an opportunity to really touch up some finer details, and this won't be as much of an overhaul as the Vulture from last week. So as we take a look at the back here, you'll see I did the LED light upgrade here. This is a really common upgrade on the Marvel Legends Doc Ock, and I wanted to do on this one as well. This actually worked out really well, so all I do is get USB LED lights that have these little rubber necks on them, and these actually ported in directly into the figure with absolutely no modification. So I just pegged them into the hole and used some super glue, and it held up well. I do have some shorts on my page about how I do this mod, so if you're ever curious how, you can go to my YouTube shorts, as well as for grit dyeing, as I mentioned earlier. There's a bunch of tutorials. So this is definitely going to be the biggest upgrade we make to this figure. I was originally using a Marvel Legends head, but I wanted to upgrade it and make it a little bit different from my other Doc Ocks. So I got this 3D print off of eBay from Collectible Carnage. He has an amazing store. I've gotten a bunch of my prints from there. So as we put it on the head just to test fit, it sits a little high. I think the neck is just a little too wide. Plus we have that ball peg in there still. So we're going to make some adjustments here and there so that the neck sits a little bit lower. I know the head is a lot smaller for this body, but I think if the head sits in the right place, it'll give the illusion of just an older man in a really big suit. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my Dremel with the little sanding adapter on there, and I'm just going to sand out the hole. When you're sanding out 3D prints, I highly recommend you wear a mask. I highly recommend you wear a mask for any kind of dremeling or sanding. Just the plastics probably aren't great for you, so I definitely recommend wearing a mask. But with that all done, now we see the head is sitting a lot lower, and I'm thinking this looks a lot better now. I also removed the ball peg because he just isn't going to have a lot of articulation to begin with, so it was just getting in our way. And with that all done, I'm really liking how this head looks. Okay, as promised, I'm going to show you how I do my dry brush and layering technique. Like I said, I learned this from Can I Make It, and he's an incredible creator here on YouTube, so I highly recommend you go and check out his page regardless, because you're probably going to learn something from there. I've learned plenty. So as you see here, I'm going to use varying degrees of green, and they're just going to slowly get lighter and lighter. We have these 3 greens here, and then I think I'm actually going to bring in this brighter lime green. I think this will really add some depth, and I really like this color. So with the first layer down, it's looking good so far. I watered the paint down a lot, and I'm not too worried about getting full coverage because a lot of this layering will help cover up the rest. Plus, I want the metal look for this custom that you'll see later on. So you want a soft bristle brush like this. This gets me the best results for dry brushing personally. And from here, it's just your standard dry brushing technique. So I'll see you at the end product. Alright, and I'm back. So on the left is after 1 dry brush, and on the right is without any. As you see, there's already a huge difference, and then here we are, completely done. This is after 4 layers of dry brushing. It gets lighter and lighter each time, as you can see. You're just really hitting the corners and stuff by the time you get to the lightest. But it just brings out so much detail on this sculpting. On the leg, it looks good. It looks really good on this chest where we have a bunch of raised edges. I say on Mcfarlane especially, this is a really fun technique because he just sneaks so much sculpting in there. but just doesn't really come out when it's all one color, right? I think this foot shows it a lot as well. One thing I wanted to mention as I'm going over these smaller details, you see how this blue is a lot more faded? It's because these joints were RIT dyed, and one thing I've learned is when you RIT dye something, if you don't put a clear coat or an extra layer of paint on there, the colors will fade, so definitely be aware of that. Alright guys, let's check out the final product, and here it is. One thing that I think made the biggest difference with this custom, like I said, we didn't have to touch up a lot, but I really like the silver dry brush we added to it. I feel like this really helps us get across that like metal feel and this worn out armor look. It just comes together really nice, and I'm really happy with this. I also touched up this paint on this elbow here. Same thing that happened with the knee. The color started to fade. I touched up this red. That faded as well when we were dry brushing. I also added the silver on the knuckles. I thought that was a fun little touch. And as we double back to the knees, look how much brighter the colors are now. Just works out so much better. I also use a different blue now, so I wanted to go through and touch all those dots up. I want to have continuity throughout all the figures. And with the head added, this is fully complete. And like I said, this head works really well now. This suit looks really good. The colors are brighter in certain areas. And I'm just really happy with how this came out. One thing I try to do when I dry brush, like I said earlier with the layer paints, and especially with the gray dry brushes like this metallic dry brush, I go for parts where I think there's going to be a lot of wear and tear. So you see by the wrists and by the feet, areas where he's going to get hit a lot in a suit. Definitely adds to the realism. Just like with any kind of black wash, brown wash, you can go too far with the dry brush. It looks cool in the moment, and then you put more and more and you realize it's probably too much and it's a lot harder to go back. So I say a little bit at a time. You can always add more. You cannot take as much away as easily. And now Doc Ock is fully complete. This is an easier one. Like I said in the beginning, we were just doing a lot more touch-up than we were complete overhauls like the Vulture. But I really like this. The little details alone, I think, really elevated it. And this head sculpt really brings it all together. But as we see here, he is with his new friend, the Vulture. And Doc Ock has some more of his own. So it's about time we check in with him. When Otto discovers he is dying from a terminal illness, he decides it is time to change his ways. Now with the chip removed from his head and a job secured at the best scientific program in New York City, Otto is on a straight and narrow. That is until he meets Adrian Toomes Jr. After coming to Otto with his plan to finally take down Spider-Man, Doc Ock is born again. But with his health declining and the Vulture's inexperience, he knows they're going to need some help. Stick around to next week to see who he recruits next in what looks like his brand new Sinister Six. Thank you guys so much for all your support in the first video and for coming back and watching this video and staying till the end. If you made it this far, please leave a like and a comment down below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and if you are subscribed, make sure to hit the bell so you don't miss any of my videos, long form or short form. And as always, all the links you need will be down below to all my other social media, my Amazon affiliate links, head sculpt from eBay, and more. So guys, again, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.